A couple of months ago I sold my 125cc. After I had sold my bike, I had to face the big decision of either buying a 300cc 2-stroke or a 454-stroke. In the end, I decided to buy a 454-stroke since I had ridden 2-strokes my entire life. Quickly after buying my brand new bike, I started thinking maybe a 300cc 2-stroke would have been a lot better for the channel since I'm more used to 2-strokes. And since I'm not made out of gold, I can't buy a 2-stroke as well as a 4-stroke, so I had to face the hard reality of never owning a 300cc 2-stroke. But luckily, I have friends. And my friends, they also like bikes. So I managed to convince one of my friends to sell his sport bike and buy a brand new enduro bike. And not any bike, but a Husqvarna TE 300 from 2017. So in today's video we're going to rebuild this enduro bike into a supermoto. Then at the end of the video we're going to test ride this 300cc 2-stroke and hear the amazing sound of the carbureted 2-stroke. And maybe we can do some wheelies. So let's begin by rebuilding this enduro bike into a supermoto. Let's begin the video. Okay, so one thing that you really need when you're putting on the discs and the sprockets is Loctite. Otherwise you're gonna have a nasty experience and it's gonna be not fun at all when these bolts vibrates off. Okay, so both the supermoto wheels are now on, and I have to say it turned out so much better than I thought. It looks so clean when you're switching from enduro tires to supermoto. Yeah, it looks so good. But one thing that you always have to do when you're putting on new supermoto tires is that you have to cut a little bit on these fork guards. Otherwise the front wheel is rubbing on them. So that is what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna cut them a little bit. So let's fix the fork guards. 1000 degree knife challenge. Det där var ju skitenkelt. Varför gjorde du inte det där från början?
Yes.
1000 degree knife. It's like butter. Look at that.
Of inhaling plastic fumes.
Okay, now the bike is now finished, and before we take a closer look at it and test ride it, we're gonna do two things. The first thing is that we're gonna do a quick sound check on the carbureted 2-stroke 300. Then after that, we're gonna do a burnout to get rid of these stickers right here. So let's begin with the sound check. Okay, so it's like 2 weeks later now, and we're finally gonna try out the 300cc 2-stroke supermoto. Now, we didn't do any crazy supermoto build, we just basically put on supermoto wheels and called it a day, but yeah, it's gonna have to work for this video. So I have ridden a 300cc supermoto before, but it was a very long time ago and I only rode the bike for like 1 minute. It's gonna be really fun to finally try out the bike for real. So there are a couple of things that I want to try out on this bike. the first thing I want to do is see in which gear the front wheel lifts off with just throttle. Now I have seen videos of these bikes being able to pull up the front wheel with just throttle in every single gear, so it's gonna be really fun to try it out. He just put on a new piston, so we're not gonna go super crazy, but we're still gonna try it out. Then after that we're going to do a drag race against my 450 4-stroke and see the difference between the 300cc 2-stroke versus the 450 4-stroke. Now I am gonna do a more in-depth video of the 300cc versus the 450 another time, but we're still gonna try it out. Then after that we're going to do some riding with the 2-stroke and just hear the amazing sound. I'm super excited to finally ride a 2-stroke, and it's gonna be really fun to see if I really did make the right decision of buying a 450 instead of a 300cc. So with this said, let's begin by riding the bike. Okay, so let's hop on the bike. I'm so excited for this. Now this bike do have the electric start as well as the kickstart, but since it was such a long time ago I kickstarted a bike, we're gonna kickstart it. Let's begin by feeling the comp. It has a lot more comp than my 125cc, but yeah. Oh my god! Oh, I did it! As I mentioned earlier in this video, this is the carbureted 2-stroke. That means that the sound of the bike is so much better than the fuel injected ones. But yeah, let's hear it out a little bit. Okay, let's put this one in first gear and ride away. Alright, let's go for the first time in a very long time. Whoa! Oh, it feels so good to be back on 2-strokes. It has been such a long time ago since I rode a carbureted 2-stroke bike. I mean, it's just a completely different feeling riding this bike compared to the 450. And one thing I just noticed is that I've gotten used to the engine braking, so I'm gonna keep that in mind so I don't blow up his brand new piston. Okay, now, so this bike has quite a heavy gearing. It has 14/48, if I'm not correct. So yeah, but we're gonna see if it can still pick up the front wheel. Okay, so first gear. Super easy. Second. Super easy. Third. Super easy. Okay, fourth. Okay, so we're up to fourth gear. We're just gonna have to turn around because we ran out of road. What to say? Okay, so now we're gonna make our way up to fifth gear. So first gear, second, third, fourth, fifth. Okay. Okay, so it did not manage to get the front wheel up in fifth gear, which is understandable with just throttle. But you know, this 300cc 2-strokes has so much bottom end power. I would say that the 250 2-stroke is like the 450 version, and the 300cc is like the 500 version of the 4-stroke versus the 300s. Because the 500cc has a lot more bottom end than the 450, and the 300 has a lot more bottom end than the 250. Man, I don't know if I like the engine braking anymore, because it feels a lot better when you are controlling the braking and the bike doesn't do it for you. I mean, sometimes on the 450 it's really nice to just give throttle and get behind the balance point without touching the rear brake. But you know, on a 300cc without the engine braking, you get a lot more consistent with the braking, so you feel like you have a lot more control of the bike. The next thing we're gonna do is that we're gonna try out a drag race with the 450 against the 300cc 2-stroke. I'm really excited to see which bike is faster and has the best acceleration. So with this said, let's hop on the 450. Okay, so my fellow sport rider friend is gonna do the drag race. Well, oh, it's not the sport bike guy anymore, he has a Supermoto now. And I'm gonna ride my 450, well, 4-stroke, yeah. I got the stunt brake now, which is really nice, but I'm not used to the engine braking and the stunt brake, because on the 450, when you're using the stunt brake, you have to use the clutch a lot more than with the 125. Because with the 125 you could basically just pull in the rear brake and the bike wouldn't die. But on this one you have to use the clutch. But anyways, that's not what we're gonna try out now. Now we're gonna do the drag race. Alright, so you start and I go after you. 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, so unfortunately the microphone died, but both the bikes did perform pretty similar. The only difference was that in the beginning of the drag race I got a little bit of a better start because I'm more used to my 450 than he is with his 300, but once we did the full throttle and just went full on, it was pretty similar. But I think that the 450 won, but I'm not sure. But now we're just gonna ride around on the 300 and hopefully the wind doesn't cut out the noise, the 300, but yeah, let's just ride a bit. Now, the big question, should I have bought a 300cc instead of a 450? Well, right now when I'm riding, I feel a lot more comfortable on the 2-stroke than I am on the 450. It feels a lot better without the engine braking and everything like that. But if I'm completely honest, I think that the 450 was a better choice for me, even though I'm more comfortable and used to 2-strokes. Because just a 4-stroke are just so much more reliable than a 2-stroke. That's the thing, I don't want to spend all my summers just rebuilding a bike like last summer. I need a summer to ride. Holy, you just have to give a little bit of throttle and release the clutch and you're up in the air. And he also has blinkers, which is very nice. Damn. It feels super weird looking at my bike from the side. It is really trippy. But yeah, I have to say, I'm really happy with how my bike turned out. It looks really, really good. And this bike as well. This bike looks really good. Hopefully, I don't know, but it would be fun to rebuild this bike and put on a decal kit and everything. But yeah, I just can't hand out free decal kit all the time. Oh, it like backfires sometimes. What? Damn, it feels so nice. Yeah, this is my school, or no, I'm not in school anymore. I'm a jobless man. I don't go to school, I don't have a job. I'm just riding bikes. So bye bye school. I'm living life right now. Sitting in my mom's basement, making YouTube videos, playing Rust. Life couldn't get much better. Well, I think that this was it. I'm gonna hop on my 450 now and do some wheelies and a stunt for the rest of the day. But if you want to see more videos with the 300cc 2-stroke, please leave a comment down below and we can make it happen. So with this said, I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!